You're down there in the office, they didn't have one. They had one guy standing over on the side with a box. It was like, he's not even an on-duty paramedic. I mean, that was just crazy. And then the cops outnumbered that were with them.
Recording in progress.
Okay, we will call to order the regular meeting for the first one of 2023 on Tuesday, January 3rd. And for everybody who's watching on TV, the knowledge that the city has made a decision that we will commence city council meetings now starting at 7 p.m. instead of 7:30. We do the committee meetings on alternate weeks, and we've started doing them at 7. So it just seemed like put in the framework that every meeting here is going to start at 7 o'clock. And I know that there's some thought that this will either allow us to have more discussion or it should get the meeting over with early. So we'll see what wins out in that. But
That's our goal.
that's the goal. So as you all know, I don't run the committee of the whole meeting. That's ably handled by Alderman Wolf, who is the senior alderman and mayor pro tem. So we'll see how it all goes. It's an idea, and I don't see any reason why we shouldn't do it, but I just wanted to begin the meeting by making some statements about it, because there are some people who probably don't know it and won't tune in on the TV till 7:25 or whatever, so they may miss part of it, but hopefully they can go back and watch the first part of this and find out why we were ahead of here. So I'll call the meeting to order. And item 2 is an invocation to be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. So I ask that you please rise for a brief invocation to be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Tonight, as we commence the year 2023, we in Batavia have a lot to be thankful for. We have a great community, we have friendly people, we have very supportive people, and we have a lot of people who make the community and it's the community's life their heart and soul. And so for that, we are very blessed that we have such an outstanding group of citizens on every part of town where they're ready to stand up and help each other or make volunteer activities and show their willingness to be part of the Batavia community. So we just want to begin by thanking for all the great efforts and all the nice people that live in our town. As always tonight, we also want to ask for a blessing on behalf of the City Council that they will use wisdom and understanding and vision as they make the decisions now before them, knowing that in the hearts and minds of each of them, they are here to do what are in the very best interest for Batavia and its people. And as always in this invocation, we want to remember all those from our community and from those from throughout America who are serving on foreign soils in defense of the liberties of the United States of America, and we just ask that a special blessing be shared on each and every one of them. And finally, we ask for direction and understanding in the minds and hearts of the City Council as they go about making the vital decisions that we are going to do tonight. So we ask for all these blessings. Amen.
Amen.
Alderman Wolf, you want to lead us in the city and Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, the reminder is on item 4 that if you're going to speak tonight at the City Council, we ask that you please use the podium and the microphone here because this is all being recorded and will be televised and replayed on BATV, so we want to make sure that everybody that's out there can hear it. In a few minutes, we'll be swearing in 2 new police officers to the Batavia Police Department, but we kind of have this figured out that we put them right here because the camera's right up there on the billboard, and we have them face the camera, and I face my back toward it because everybody's seen my face as much as they care to see, but we try to bring some new identity to the new faces of the Batavia Police Department. So all that being said, that's the understanding. Moving into item number 5, items. Oh, sorry. Clerk call the roll.
Miller.
Here.
Rosado.
Here.
Beck.
Here.
Connolly.
Here.
Janzet.
Here.
Wolf.
Here.
Solfa.
Here.
Barron.
Here.
Lehman. Lehman.
I think she's out of town.
Ayazi.
Here.
Millay.
Here.
Ewer.
Here.
Saron,
Here.
Vogelsinger.
Believe she's out of town.
12 of 14 present, Your Honor.
So we have 12 of 14 aldermen present, so we have the necessary quorum to conduct business. Moving in to item 5, which are items to be removed, added, or changed on tonight's agenda. Does anybody in the city council have anything they want to add, change, or move? Okay, very good. Next item will be presentation of tonight's consent agenda, and Alderman Chanzet, as Chairman of Governmental Services, would you present this, please?
Indeed, Your Honor, the consent agenda reads as follows. Approvals, the December 23rd, 2022 payroll in the amount of $980,849.53. The accounts payable check register in the amount of $996,392.11. City Council minutes for December 5th and December 19th, 2022. Resolution 23-07-R, approval of a separation and release agreement for Tricia Ordaz, and that will do it for the consent agenda this evening. I move that we approve it as presented.
Second.
Moved by Alderman Chanzet, second by Alderman Wolf for the approval of the consent agenda as presented. Any discussion? Clerk, call the roll, please.
Chanzet,
Aye.
Wolf,
Aye.
Solfa,
Aye.
Barron,
Aye.
Ayazi,
Aye.
Malay,
Aye.
Ewert,
Aye.
Saron,
Aye.
Miller,
Aye.
Beck, Rosado,
Aye.
Beck,
Aye.
Connolly.
Aye.
12 yes, no, 2 absent.
Consent agenda stands approved. Okay, moving to item number 7, which are matters from the public for items that are not on the agenda. Do we have anybody in the audience tonight or online that wishes to address the city council? Or do we showing anybody online? Okay. All right, moving right along then, we'll move to item number 8, which is oath of office for probationary police officers Peter Rudlich and probationary officer Caleb Saxma. And Chief, you want to make an introduction?
I do. Thank you. Peter Rudelich was recently selected by the Batavia Board of Fire and Police Commissioners to fill an existing vacancy within the Batavia Police Department. He is a lifelong resident of Batavia and a 2017 graduate of Batavia High School. He attended Aurora University in Aurora, Illinois, where he graduated in 2021 with a Bachelor of Arts degree in Criminal Justice and Spanish. Officer Rudelich is the latest in his family line of serving as a law enforcement officer. Both his father and brother are a part of law enforcement community, having served and are currently serving in the Chicagoland area. Officer Rudelich is scheduled to begin training at the Suburban Law Enforcement Academy next Monday, January 9th. We are excited to have Peter join our police department, and we believe that his education and his compassion for the profession will make him an excellent addition to our team.
I can have you stand so you're facing this camera. That's what we wanted to do. You have to speak into the mic as well as take the oath of office, so we're going to test. All right. Number one, I'm very pleased that you're doing this. I think you're going to make a wealth of additional service and talent to the Batavia Police Department. And I hope you stay 20 years and earn the pension and really make a career of this, because I think you have the talent and the ability to do so.
Thank you.
Okay, if you repeat after me, I state your name,
I, Peter Rudelich,
having been appointed
having been appointed
to the position of probationary police officer
to the position of probationary police officer
on December 21st, 2022,
on December 21st, 2022,
with the Batavia Police Department
with the Batavia Police Department
in the city of Batavia,
in the city of Batavia,
in the counties of Kane and DuPage,
in the counties of Kane and DuPage,
do solemnly swear and affirm
do solemnly swear and affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
of probationary police officer
of probationary police officer
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
You want to wait and take some pictures? Yeah. Okay. All right, this is Caleb Saxema. He was also recently selected by the Batavia Board of Fire and Police Commission to fill an existing vacancy within the department. He is a longtime resident of the Chicago area and graduate of Cary Grove High School in Cary, Illinois. He attended Northern Illinois University in DeKalb, Illinois, where he graduated in 2021 with a Bachelor of Science degree in sociology. Officer Saxema is a veteran of the United States Marine Corps, having served on active duty from 2013 to 2017. His military service time included campaigns in Iraq and in Syria. Officer Saxema is scheduled to also begin training at the Suburban Law Enforcement Academy next Monday, January 9th. We're also excited to have Caleb join our department and believe that his education and his life experience will make him an excellent addition to our team.
Caleb, you saw where Peter stood, so if you, right there, we gotta come over here a little bit further. Get you in there, photos. Well, first of all, Caleb, I want to say, like your predecessor, the gentleman that just went ahead of you, I am very pleased with your selection to become a Batavia police officer. You've certainly, with your military background and the experience you've got, I think you're going to make a very, very strong addition to our force. And needless to say, the mission of our police department and all others is changing almost daily with new challenges and new requests and requirements. And we need talented people like yourself in the street, in the squad cars, and dealing with the public. So thank you for choosing Batavia. And I look forward to, again, to hopefully a 20-plus year career for yourself as a member of our department.
Thank you.
So if you would raise your right hand and repeat after me, I, and state your name,
I, Caleb Saxema,
having been appointed
having been appointed
to the position of probationary police officer
to the position of probationary police officer
on December 21st, 2022,
on December 21st, 2022,
with the City of Batavia Police Department
with the City of Batavia Police Department
in the City of Batavia,
in the City of Batavia,
in the counties of Kane and DuPage,
in the counties of Kane and DuPage,
do solemnly swear and affirm
do solemnly swear and affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
of probationary police officer
of probationary police officer
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Good.
All right, we will move then to item number 9 on our agenda, which is an appointment of Karen Morley as Deputy City Clerk for the City of Batavia and the counties of Kane and DuPage, effective January 1st, 2023. And I will explain this, that Karen works as my secretary here on a daily basis, and many times we get somebody at the door or somebody with a piece of paper or a subpoena for me or whatever the issue may be. And it's good to have somebody who has the authority of the deputy city clerk to be there to receive this information, because Kate, and the great job she does, is part-time and is not readily always available. So we thought this would be, we've kind of chased this around with some other cities, and this is a very common way of doing business. So we are not doing anything out of the mend here. So I would ask for a motion to approve the appointment of Karen Morley as Deputy City Clerk for the City of Batavia.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Alderman Wolf, second by Alderman Malay for the approval of the appointment of Karen Morley. Any further discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Wolf,
Aye.
Solfa,
Aye.
Barron,
Aye.
Ayazi,
Aye.
Malay,
Aye.
Ewer,
Aye.
Saron,
Aye.
Miller,
Aye.
Rosado,
Aye.
Beck,
Aye.
Connolly,
Aye.
Chanzit.
Aye.
12 yes, no, 2 absent.
Motion's approved. Okay, item 10 is a presentation on the strategic plan update fourth quarter. Laura, are you doing this?
Yes.
Okay, we are 2/3 of the way through our current strategic plan for 2021 to 2023. We're pretty excited as staff should be moving into the home stretch on some of these projects. Others have kind of morphed. We'll talk about that in this presentation. But one of the things we're going to be doing very early this year is to send out our new community survey. And in the past, when we got the data back from the community survey, there's a lot of really great information that was part of that assisted with the development of this strategic plan. And so it's anticipated that we will use the results of the community survey again as we move into the next segment of 2024 through 2026. More conversations on that this year. Just a reminder that our strategic objectives fall under these 5 different categories: economic vitality, transportation, infrastructure, the river, and diversity, equity, and inclusion. The first of those is the economic development. We did create the position of economic development manager, and that was unfortunately the first person did not work out in that position, and now Anthony Isom has been named the new Economic Development Manager, and he's going to be reviewing the information that we collected as part of the focus groups that we had to develop an economic development strategic plan of its own, and so he's going to be picking up that project. The second, the Shop Local video program was very successful. There were many shares of those videos, both by our partners at Main Street and the Chamber, but also by the retailers themselves. And our downtown was bustling with holiday shopping throughout the season. We've also been working with a local production company to come up with a video that promotes Batavia as a great place to do business. And we're really proud that we have been able to fill several vacancies on Randall Road and downtown with new businesses. And while we had hoped that we would be underway with some downtown redevelopment projects, mixed-use developments, unfortunately, I think that economic issues are kind of driving the fact that we're not seeing as many opportunities there as we had hoped. You know, the rising interest rates and the rising costs of building those kind of projects certainly is a factor, but we still continue to work with a couple of developers on potential projects, and we're hoping that maybe those might come to fruition here in 2023. And also, Housel Levine has continued to work on the downtown plan, which will help to inform developers when they do want to bring a project, what vision the city council has for how our downtown will look in the future. And we're expecting that we'll have the results of their community and stakeholder meetings. They'll come back and do a report on that sometime in January. As far as improvements that we have made to our streetscape, the proposed designs for Newspaper Boy Alley Arch were presented to City Council and gave some feedback to the designer. We expect that we'll be able to install that in 2023. And also, council selected materials and colors for new entryway signs. We had 2 that were planned for this year that we weren't able to get the design completed in time, and 2 for next year. So we're hopeful that maybe we'll be able to complete all 4 next year. At the back of each one of the slides where we share the quarter's progress, we have for each year all of the previous quarter's updates. We'll be adding a page for 2023 soon. And our next section has to do with transportation objectives. Happy to report that engineering is actively underway for the road diet project, and we should have a status update meeting with our engineer in January. And we also have applied for Illinois Transportation Enhancement Program grant funding for this project. ITEP's the name. So there are several objectives in this plan that are related to active transportation, both pedestrian and also bicycle. And unfortunately, some staffing shortages interrupted the consultant's progress on that plan. But we did just at the end of the year receive a draft plan, and staff has provided comments back to the consultant. Once they incorporate those, we'll be able to send that plan out to our stakeholder group, and then it will come back to City Council for final approval. And this was one of our most important partners in this project has been the Batavia Bicycle Commission, offering their expertise, recommendations, feedback, and previous plans that they have worked on with the city. And these are infrastructure-related objectives. We had back in 2021, mid-year, brought a conversation back to City Council. Gary Holm did a nice job of collecting all of the different projects for which we had not identified a source of funding yet, and put those into plans for what we could accomplish in the next year, what we could accomplish in the next 5 years, and 10 years and 20. We think it's time to bring that conversation back here, see what new types of projects have been added, and make sure that we are still identifying a source of funding for projects so that we can timely implement those. And this was also related to active transportation to enhance the safety of bikers and walkers in our neighborhood. Recommendations for making improvements in that regard is definitely at the forefront of the recommendations in that plan. And the 4th area has to do with the river. We are collaborating with the Park District to create a master plan for the development of our riverfront. One of the things that will be happening next week is that we have the Chicago office of the Army Corps of Engineers will be visiting Batavia, Illinois to come see the dam in person, and also to talk about the project that they have, which is a study of the effects of dam removal will have on both the ecology and the safety of the waterway. We're hoping to be selected among the projects that can receive some funding to assist us with the removal of our dam. Also, the Park District has received their amendment report from the Hitchcock Design Group, and so we're hoping to put together a joint meeting with City Council here in February, or at least in January, or at least early February. This particular objective is related to actively marketing some of the city-owned riverfront properties to developers. And as I mentioned earlier, while there's a little bit of a slowdown in that activity, we do continue to work with a couple of prospects in that regard. While not inexpensive, the city has applied for an ITEP grant to assist us with moving the bike path from the west side of the wastewater treatment plant to run on the east side of the plant and directly along the riverbank. So we're hoping to hear back on that grant application this month. And our last section is an objective related to creating and adopting a diversity, equity, and inclusion plan. As I've mentioned in previous updates, we were really fortunate to be selected to be in a pilot program that was run through the Metropolitan Caucus of Mayors and from CMAP, and included a professor from University of Illinois, as well as the ILCMA. And the program concludes this month, and the committee is currently engaged in a 3-part learning exercise that came from that pilot program and has encouraged some really great discussions about where we want to take this in 2023. Also in 2023, Human Resources is leading the efforts to launch an employee survey, and one component of that will be an assessment of our DEI culture. And that is the quarterly report. Does anyone have any questions?
The one where I think we could tie the two together is the Army Corps of Engineers. I would believe that part of the bank stabilization stuff we've talked about would also be part of doing the bike path move, where we could actually do two things with one project. So maybe make sure that we talk about that between those two groups, that, you know, if we could get a little bit of money from one and a little bit from the other, or the blessing of the Army Corps of Engineers, that, hey, we're going to do riverbank stabilization. So it's not just a physical move of the bike path, it's also trying to stabilize that section of the river. Because I think that's really important for that section of the river, that we stabilize that section.
Very good. Will do.
Anybody else have any questions or comments? You know, I would just like to offer up the observation, I'm all for the bicycle plan that you're talking about doing here. But the one thing that I see, and, you know, I'm around here most of the time during the day, is there is a great abuse of bicycle riding in Batavia, a big abuse. And I think a lot of it is not Batavians, it's people picking up on our bike trails and coming through. But you have to go no further than right out here at this walkway across to see all the people that come flying across the bridge, and they don't stop for nothing, they don't stop for the traffic, they don't stop for anything. And I don't know necessarily what the answer to this is, but we really do have some very reckless bicycle riding in Batavia that is not a good thing, and sooner or later, I gotta believe we're gonna have a very bad accident involving some of these people for what they're doing, and they just seem to think that they're on the bicycle and they own the highway and can just fly by. So I just think that it's something that we have to keep in the back of our program here, that we got to do something, and I'm not sure what it is, but it's not, seems to be, every year it seems to get a little bit more intensified.
Yeah, I'll say from what I've experienced down at the farmer's market on Saturdays, it really depends on if there's somebody, even people from the bike commission that I've seen that are at one end or the other of it, will try to stand there and talk to people as they come through so that they understand kind of what the rules are in the section of the town that they're in. And that may be something to discuss with the bike commission, you know, that education part of it, we might have to figure ways to try to enhance that, because it's also good if we get the people off of their bikes and they walk around, that slows them down and allows them to look at everything that there is to offer downtown. So if we could figure a way to do that, whether it's through volunteers or whatever, I think that would be really important, because, you know, there are times when you get somebody that's a group of 5 people and, you know, they're out trying to make whatever time they're trying to make, whatever they're doing, and they're trying to go through a crowd of people that's trying to walk through downtown. That can be difficult. And trying to make sure that we can all share the space that we've created is really important. So maybe discuss that with the bike commission, that may be something they might want to take on.
Anybody else? Well, thank you.
Thank you.
You may want to just stand there because the Chamber of Commerce is not here tonight to do their presentation. They've asked for deference to the next meeting.
Yes.
And so now we go to 12, the administrator's report. So you change your hat and
Here I'm back. So a few updates. We've been talking about creating an educational campaign ahead of implementing the fee for single-use bags. And the firm that we're working with on that campaign is really moving ahead. We are expecting to meet with them on Thursday with some ideas that they have for the branding for that campaign. And they expect to have the theme and tagline developed by January 11th. I mentioned that staff reviewed the first draft of the bike and pedestrian plan and provided comments back to Active Transportation and Ride Illinois. In community development, at your next committee of the whole meeting, there will be an intergovernmental agreement with Kane County, which is related to the development that is proposed for the corner of Kirk Road and Fabian Parkway. And it is concerning certain signalization that the county will require due to the addition of entrances into that property. It's a fairly large project. We're really excited about it, and we're grateful for the cooperation of our other governmental parties to help bring this one over the finish line. Also associated with that will be a development agreement with the purchaser of that land, setting up an SSA that would cover costs that the city has agreed to as part of the intergovernmental agreement. So we expect there to be some discussion about that on our committee of the whole meeting on the 10th. We also met with the owner of Batavia Container, a longtime member of our industrial community here in the city of Batavia, and we're very excited that they have decided to lease a whole building of a newly constructed building that was speculative when built, but now we have one of our own long-standing businesses who is going to occupy this building and greatly expand their operations here in the city of Batavia. We expect delivery of the ladder truck that we purchased from St. Charles, the surplus truck. We may even have received it today. Not yet, but we're getting it this week. And it will be with the Batavia markings on it and ready to go. Let's see.
While we're on that subject real
Yes.
quick, I know we had talked about, do we have any idea on the costs of all the associated things that we have, that we ask questions about, as far as maintenance and insurance? There was a couple of questions that we had, we need answers for, several council members really wanted answers for on that we should get those answers for that truck. That we need to know what
Regarding the past maintenance record.
right, what's been done to it and what you expect to do to it and just normal use. And then also what the insurance costs will be for per year.
Yeah, I don't have the insurance costs, but I can forward the maintenance records for it and the projected costs of the, they call the wrap to change the color and
Okay.
and the lettering for
Okay,
it.
if we can get that, and then once you do get an insurance policy on it, let us know what the cost is on it, so
Sure.
we can see that as
Sure.
part of the overall cost to the department.
Sure,
Sounds good.
Okay,
no problem.
thank you.
Thank you.
So the last thing that I wanted to mention tonight was that Ed Larson from our Information Technology Department utilized the Laserfiche document management system to basically build a FOIA request and response system for us. And this is something that other communities have had to go out and purchase software for. So just another example of our IT department and their innovation and ability to solve problems, and it's working really well. I also want to point out that the city's transparency site has a lot of information for residents or anyone who might be interested in things like ordinances, resolutions, past agendas, past meeting minutes, these the number of FOIA requests that we receive and such. A lot of research can be done there on that page, and it's very easy to find. It's the first drop down on our homepage, and it's called Transparency. And so you can find a lot of information there. That's all I have, unless anybody has any questions for me.
Any questions of the administrator tonight? Well, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, do we have other business tonight? Nobody? All right, very quickly under the mayor's report, I guess I want to share a couple of things. I was the victim last week of a theft of one of my credit card numbers. And fortunately, the bank that I had picked up on it, thought it looked a bit strange for me to be ordering whatever this was for $199. So they contacted me, and I had no record of it. So the bank told me they were going to destroy my number and sent me down to their bank in North Aurora, and they gave me a new credit card in about 10 minutes. And so I wasn't out, but it took a while to get all this accomplished. But it was, I think it just, I'll use myself as the example. And the police department has shared with me several times in the last few months that Batavia is a target opportunity here because we have a very affluent community. We have a very large number of senior citizens. We have 6 senior living communities in town. And one of the things that apparently these bad guys are doing is that they're searching out where the communities are, that there are people who have incomes and credit cards and pensions and everything else. And then they try to go to work on these folks because many of them don't have a lot of computer background. And so in my case, they never called me. Somebody just somehow got my credit card number from something that I used it on. And I understand they've also developed the ability to take somebody's check, a personal check that they've written, and take their information off of it and reprint that check so that they can send another check with your name on it to somebody for whatever. So I just want to share all this because I think the Batavia Police Department is doing a marvelous job from everything I can see in trying to help everybody work their way through this. But this is a very predominant problem that we have in Batavia with all these senior citizens specifically getting attacked by, folks trying to get their information about themselves. So I'm going to use my weekly mayor's report to shoot a few things out there about, please be careful about giving your information out to anybody, and don't be on the computer easily jumping into something that somebody says you just won a contest and you got $10,000, respond to this number, and when you respond to the number, so I'm told, they start asking you for all kinds of information. Do you have a checking account? We can deposit this in. Do you have a credit card? We could credit this. Now, there's a bunch of different crap going on here that they end up doing. So I think as the mayor, I'm going to spend some time in the next year trying to do with the cooperation of the police department, which I know I have, some public information about how to deal with all this stuff this crime over the computer, because this really is a big problem for us. The other thing I wanted to share, I had the opportunity this afternoon to meet one of the gentlemen who has now been assigned to Batavia to work for Association for Individual Development. And he's working with the Batavia Police and Fire Department because we have really, if you look at the call volumes we've got in both departments, we've got a huge number of calls for people that are having very unique problems, many of them about themselves and their thoughts, and everything from suicide to I want to take all my clothes off and walk around Batavia naked to, there's some really strange things that we've been called to. And Chief Hanson, what was the final number of calls for the Batavia Fire Department this year?
Approximately 4,970 something.
That's the record we've never had before.
Right, just under 5,000 calls. So, yeah. When our previous high was just pre-pandemic 2019 of 4,004. So we were approximately over 950 calls more this year than we've ever been.
And in talking to the medics and the chief and others, we had some days in Batavia this year where the fire department responded between 20 and 30 calls. And maybe we even had a 40 call day once or twice, pretty close to it. So, I mean, we're running numbers like you've never seen, much of which is in the ambulance world. I mean, we're not getting a lot of fire calls, we're not burning much down, but boy, we are going crazy with ambulance calls, and a lot of them are this mental illness thing, which is where the next step is they bring in AID to talk to these people. I serve as chairman, as you know, of the Tri-City Ambulance Board, and Geneva and St. Charles have this same thing going for it. And Alderman Wolf joins me on that board representing the Batavia City Council because we have an alderman from each one of the three, or city officials from each one of the three towns. And so one of the things that we are determining is that we get these calls specifically for people who are having mental problems. And the person with the mental problem, they may not want to go to the hospital, but they'd like to have these paramedics sit there and talk with them for 2 or 3 hours about whatever it is that they want. In the meantime, we've got this ambulance now tied up at this mental issue, and lo and behold, they're getting calls for people having heart attacks or strokes or breaking their hips or whatever have you, and we're shuffling ambulances around because the closest ones are all tied up. So I think one of the ideas we're starting to look at Tri-City is bringing AID in here, and when we get these initial calls of somebody wanting to talk to us about their mental issues, we send AID out there, and so that then AID can come in and deal with it, and we can kind of keep our ambulances somewhat free, because we don't need to have somebody die because everybody else was busy talking to somebody else for 2 hours. So I just share that in broad way because it's happening and we want to do something about it to maintain the quality of the ambulance service in Batavia. So we're very, very fortunate. And the final comment I want to make about as the mayor is just thank everybody in the community for what I would suggest was, from a Christmas decoration perspective, one of the best we've ever seen in Batavia. I mean, we were on TV, we were on with a whole bunch of people, and I had other mayors from other towns tell me, what's your secret in there? How did you get so many people to buy Christmas decorations and put up all those? But it was basically affected every neighborhood. I mean, there wasn't any neighborhood in town that didn't have its fair share of Christmas decorations up. So I think that's a standard or a theme or an activity that probably will continue to grow in Batavia as time goes on. And you know, it's a good thing. You know, I've had some people say, I wish some of the designs were a little bit more religious and paid tribute to God or something, but there's, you know, a lot of people that want to talk about Santa Claus and the reindeers and all the other good stuff. So it's all part of the Christmas spirit, and I think it's all good stuff. And so I just want to thank everybody that stepped forward and did it. And I mean, there's some people that really went to some serious expenses in all parts of town to put Christmas decorations up. So I think we should be thanking our citizens, and I will again publicly, that they did a very nice job of doing stuff with what they put out this year. We keep this up, we're going to be decorated beyond it. And I can remember as a kid growing up in this town in the 1950s, and the big decoration was the tree, or there was the Christmas tree that was down on the island that you looked at off the bridge. And as I remember the story, that was a real tree down there for a while, and eventually the tree died. So then our public works guys came up with the idea, well, we can make the shape of a tree, and you can't see it in the daytime anyway, but at night it's going to look, and so people rave about that. Well, now we've added the Peace Bridge, and so now either way you look going across the Wilson Street Bridge, you can look to the south and look to the north, and here's some very monumental Christmas. And the thing that I've had several of the downtown merchants tell me, that the number of people who come, park their car someplace, get out and walk their family out either in front of the south tree or the bridge to the north, and then they think they're taking probably the Christmas picture for their Christmas card or their family picture. Some people, I'm told, use it every year as a family picture background because it just shows the growth of their children or their grandchildren and whatever have you, and it provides a real nice backdrop of what's going on. So that, and the other one that we get a lot of people wanting to pose at is the island or the pond out here. If you want to see a crowd, come down on prom night from Batavia High School. And in the daylight, we've got all these beautiful dresses and guys in tuxedos, and they're all standing there, couples, and then they bring everybody in, and they got a picture of 100 of them, whatever, standing there. And it just shows, you know, a lot of you guys get a lot of the credit for putting some of this together to get this up. And there are people using it in a very positive framework. And so I had a mayor from Lake County talk to me about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and he had been down here to see the Christmas decorations, but he had I believe it was a granddaughter that got asked to the Batavia homecoming dance, and so Grandpa came down she said she was going to have her picture taken by the river, and what's this all about? And he came down here, and they stood there and had this nice picture taken of the Depot Pond, and he just said, boy, I don't know what you did to get that pond there, but that's a beautiful feature for your community to have. And, you know, so, I mean, it's amazing to me the number of people that have come in and say they want to see this stuff. I had the newly elected mayor of Algonquin down here one time this year, and she was just overwhelmed by the stuff that she said, I'm stealing ideas from you, and you'll see some of these in Algonquin, which is fine, but, you know,
I was going to let you know, too, the committee that put together stuff for the Peace Bridge, they did make their $50,000 goal, so that will be getting redone and
the new
a more
light.
permanent
Right.
setup for the lights and the letters. So that's an exciting thing to
So
get that done.
we've just got a lot of really neat stuff happening here, and you know, at the end of the day, you guys don't get as much credit and praise as you should, because without your support, probably none of this would happen. I mean, you know, it's the city council that's in charge, and you're the ones that make the decisions. I can remember the night when Dave Brown and Mike O'Brien were here, and they were pushing to do the River Street program. And there were some that, not necessarily in the council, but from the community, that were screaming, this is a waste of money, nobody's going to use this is a joke, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, those two guys kind of drove the thing through the city council, and it got done, and now they're both off the council. But, I mean, if you go over there on Saturday morning and, you know, the farmer's market, and other times of the year, boy, we got packed crowds over there, and everybody's raving about what a neat feature it is in the town. And so, you know, sometimes you just have to be adventuresome and go forward and do stuff. And to the credit of all of you, I thank you all publicly on behalf of the community for what you've done, because this really has, I think, make Batavia shine in a very positive manner. So something we all should be very proud of. So that being said, Alderman Wolf, I'd entertain a motion.
I move that we adjourn the city council meeting.
Motion by Wolf, second by Sofa. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.